Who wants to start?
You talked a little today on the call about that you still feel optimistic about the team's chances, that there's a lot of games left as far as you see it.
Well, when you're in the ACC, every team you play is a very good team. And we have 2 home games and 2 road games. And I feel good that we've been very, very close without playing our best. And I still think our best basketball is ahead of us. And if we can play at our best, I think we can compete and win any game we're in. The only thing is the opponent is also very, very good. So there's no guarantees.
How frustrating is, like the other day, and you've had a few times this season where it really comes down to one bucket at the end? And
Well, if you look at some of our ACC games, with one more point against Virginia in the overtime, we have a win against a top 2 team in the country. With one more 3-pointer against Wake Forest, we have another great road win. With a 3-pointer against Louisville, which we were shooting a 3 for the win. We'd have another great road win, except against a top 15 team in the country. We've played well enough to win the games, but we've won some of those and have lost some. We won a double overtime game against Boston College, so we're 1-1 in double overtime games. We beat someone recently by 2 points. Who did we beat recently? Oh, Boston College. So you win close games, you lose close games, but I think our team right now should feel good about themselves. With only 2 weeks left in the season, we're very much in the hunt, and we have to play our best. That's it. And every player should want to play his best.
Any ideas? There might be some, not lineup changes, but just more minutes for a particular player. Anything like that at this point of the season, or?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Well, part of our issue and why we've been inconsistent is players are somewhat inconsistent. They don't play the same way every day. They don't shoot the ball the same way all the time. If they did, my decisions would be far easier. But guys go through stretches where they play great, and they go through stretches where they're not quite as good. And when they're not playing as well, they'd like to just keep playing. But when you have other guys who are also very capable, as a coach, you look for some help from somebody. And against Boston College, we got it from DeAndre Burnett. And he did another very good job at Louisville. At Duke, it was Manu. Omar Sherman played very well first half against Louisville. If he had played as well in the second half, we'll probably win that game. He scored our first 7 points, but then didn't score the rest of the game. So, that for a coach, it's hard to predict then. And that's really what you're trying to do. When you go to your bench or whoever you start, you're trying to predict which starting lineup will work the best and which substitution pattern will work the best.
Do you have an update on Tanya, just kind of where he stands right now health-wise? And
I talked to Jason Roby, our trainer, and does a great job. And he called me last night to tell me he spoke to Tanya, and Tanya's feeling good, and he's cleared to play.
He was never diagnosed with a concussion?
Well, what happened was the incident occurred very late in the half. When we got into the locker room at halftime, I spoke briefly to the team, and then I met with my staff. while I was meeting with my staff, Jason, our trainer, met with Tanya, and evidently he was struggling at that time. When I came out of my meeting, Jason said, Tanya's got a concussion. He's not going to be able to play in the second half. I told the team, and we started out of the locker room. On the way out, Jason said he was going to seek some additional help from the Louisville doctors. So the Louisville doctor, I don't know if it's their team doctor or who it was, came in to see Tanya. He re-examined him and decided it wasn't a concussion. It was the ball hit him in the eye, and I guess some of the symptoms of a concussion are you can't focus. Well, I guess that's what was happening to him. So to Jason, it appeared that he could very well have a concussion, and we always want to put the safety of our players first. And so I think Jason was very, very wise in feeling like, hey, we've got to keep Tanya out. But when we got the update from a medical doctor who said, no, it's not a concussion, then he cleared Tanya to play. And then Tanya came back out with Jason, and they updated me and said, look, he doesn't have a concussion, he's okay to go.
Yeah, he was rubbing his eyes. You could tell he was like, from the time it happened, he was mostly with his eyes. He hasn't had any more trouble with the eyes.
Well, I haven't seen him today, but I'm sure Jason would know if he was having problems and would share that with us.
What was your reaction when you saw that Lowell had suspended or kicked off, dismissed Jones?
I wished it had been a couple of days sooner. He was obviously the difference in the game. There were two major things that occurred. Obviously, Jones played terrific. He scored 17 points. But the other was we started the second half with a 10-point lead, but without Tanya. Once Tanya entered the game in the second half, we did not turn it over against the full court press again. We had problems with when he was not there to help break the pressure, because he's a very good outlet for the guards. They can see him and find him. We had a hard time inbounding the ball, but with Tanya in there, that problem was solved. But they had already cut the lead from 10 down to 1.
Is Tanya playing, at the beginning of the year, you had challenged him and you said you wanted double-doubles, and he seems to be doing everything and more. Then is he playing even better than you expected, or where you wanted him to be right now?
I'll never say he's playing better than I expected, because I have such high expectations for him. Mm-hmm. He's someone that hasn't reached his ceiling. But what I do think has happened, and you can ask him, his confidence has grown because of his rebounding. He started the season with the idea of, I want to really focus on rebounding. And as he began to experience so much success, and when we let him know, hey, you're the leading rebounder in this league, you need to really continue to focus on that while you continue to add to your offensive low post game. And his jump shot has improved, his free throws improved, and his back to the basket game looks like to me is just emerging. That's after 3 full years of working on this, but I would imagine by next year he'll be a force to be reckoned with in the low post.
You mentioned free throws. Has he done anything in particular? Did he do extra work or anything? Because that's a pretty good jump from below 60 to over 70.
Yeah, he worked very hard throughout his freshman and sophomore year, but things take time to improve. He was getting better. His shot at one time was a little flat, and he needed to work on the arc to give the shot a little better chance of falling in. And he did that. And any adjustment you make on your shot is so psychological. I mean, it just deals with so many thoughts you have running through your head. You know? And he's done a very good job of that. We're working with Kamari Murphy on the same thing right now.
How's Angel's attitude, mood?
Great.
Whatever it is, yeah.
And he came in, he worked on his game this morning with Coach Caputo. And Coach Caputo had him take the ball on the sideline with 8 seconds on a clock, on a shot clock, race up the court and see if he could make that shot. And we put a defender on him, and he made it twice in a row. So I think he's getting ready to break out of his slump. I see some very positive things, and we're gonna run some plays for him to see if we can help him. But it's very, very clear to everyone that's watched our team play that when Angel is right, playing really well, we become a really good team.
What do you- oh, go ahead.
I was just getting ready for Florida State, a
That's what I was
second
gonna say.
meeting with the same team. What are the differences?
Well, it's not the differences, it's what we have to anticipate them doing. And that is, they play very big. And their size bothered us in the second half. It didn't bother us in the first half. We had an 11-point lead at the half. We played a great first half. I'm trying to think of what the score was. It was either like 36-25 or 38-27, but it was something like that. And we had played a terrific first half. I was very happy at both ends of the court. Second half, they used their size offensively and defensively to cause us some problems. And we'll need to play as well as we did in the first half in both halves this time.
26-25.
Yeah, that was my first guess.
Did you watch their game last night?
Yes, they had a great shot at beating Virginia. Virginia is so resilient.
These teams had to overcome some injuries there. Last night.
They lost their point guard for the rest of the game. They lost their captain and leader for a portion of the second half. And still won.
It's kind of this time of the year, isn't it? I mean, not that you expect to lose guys like that in the same game, but I mean.
Well, I just
things
think there's definitely attrition during the season. And people go through it at different times, but it is very normal to lose a guy at this time of year.
I know you certainly have been wanting to get fans to come to the games, to get themselves here. How much does it add when it's Florida State? I know everybody knows about the rivalry.
Do we know if it's sold out yet?
Is it? Okay.
It's not. I think we'll have a great crowd, though, Wednesday night and Saturday.
Saturday's closer, 600 tickets.
Anybody who's listening and wants to know, you better get your tickets now because they're going to be gone.
There's 600 left, you said,
For Saturday.
for Saturday?
What is the dynamic like when it's Florida State and on
Well,
this end?
Rivalry games always take on a special meaning because we compete with them in everything. Not just athletics, but in recruiting students. Kids will often look at Florida State, Florida, and Miami if they want to stay in the state. Kids from outside the state will look, hey, I want to go to the warm weather. And they'll take a look at Miami, Florida, Florida State. Oh, and this is a very big game for both of us.
Does the fact that Leonard used to coach here too, is that an extra, just because he has
Our
such a
players
name?
don't know that. But it
No, I'm
is-
saying for the fans and stuff, there's a connection.
I don't think so. It was a
No.
long time ago.
Talk about weather, you ever text temperatures to recruits?
Yes. Especially kids like in Chicago. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.